Well, hello and welcome to our backyard garden here in the South Carolina upstate. It is episode number 20, I think 27 now, on August 8th, 2024. I just finished our front yard garden. We're going to get into our backyard garden now. I'm trying to get this in before we get rain. We're supposed to have rain this afternoon and this morning. We have Tropical Storm Debbie, which we're on the very far western end of it. They're getting a lot of rain and storms up in Charlotte right now, and we're supposed to get some rain shortly. So I wanted to get this video in before that came about. The lighting is good, and everything is looking really happy and healthy. So I thought this is a good time to get it on video. So normally we have a car parked here, and I thought I'll just kind of show off this snapdragon that has grown up out of the concrete. I was showing it off earlier in the year, but it's not fully in bloom right now, but it's still giving us some color. And then interestingly enough, we have a cleome over here and another cleome over here. These have just spread by seed. A lot of our cleome are finished up, although this one, which is also growing up out of the sidewalk, is still doing very well. And in fact, it's making it difficult to walk down the stairs. This one is still fully in bloom. These were all late to the party. They came out about a month after the main ones, which were over here. And they're all pretty much done. There's not much going on. I was always referring to this as our cleome forest. And it is pretty well finished up now. Interestingly enough, if you look over in here, we have some morning glories, and I don't remember planting those. I'm not sure when they started coming up, but they're just sort of spreading on their own. And we have one single flower over here, which is really pretty, and one here that's already wilted with the blue and white stripes. And we have other, I think others that will come along there. I see some others back there in the weeds. We haven't really done anything with that area. The cleome have kind of taken over this part of the yard, so I just kind of let them do their thing. More cleome down here. These are actually the ones that are fully in bloom now. You look closely, it's a very complex flower, and it blooms from the outside in over a span of usually a week or so, and then it moves on to another level. It's a very interesting flower, and it typically blooms from about June through August, and then it just goes to seed and spreads like wildfire, which is why we have all of these. We only planted a few up in this area about 3 or 4 years ago, and everything has come from that. Got a lot of weeds up in here that we need to take out, but we have a knockout rose here, which I think is pretty much done for the year. A nice yellow one, but needs some serious deadheading. We just haven't gotten around to it. And then our backyard hydrangea, which has now peaked, as opposed to the red and blue ones that we have in the front yard. This is a white one. Still have a couple of blooms that are white, but most of them are starting to turn to the yellowish or pale green color. And they'll still have some color for another few weeks before they turn brown. But still attracting bees and wasps and moths and dragonflies. So actually, I don't know if you can see this or not. There's a really interesting dragonfly right there. It's almost transparent, more than usual. You can see through his wings there. The yellow color is really unusual. We have many different types of dragonflies here because of our pond, and I don't know anything about dragonflies, but it's fascinating to watch them. We've seen probably 4 or 5 different colors, all different shapes, sizes, and everything else. Butterfly bush here, we have 2 of those. Still doing pretty well. They probably will give us color for another month or so, and then they'll be done. This huge hydrangea here has really kind of taken over this part of the garden, which I don't really want to cut it back, but at the same time, you don't want it to completely dominate everything. Got a knockout rose here, which has done very well in the spring. Then it's dormant until now. We're getting some flowers off of it. And then down here are some begonias that my wife Jenny put in about 6 or 8 weeks ago, and they're doing pretty well. Also some impatiens and more begonias down here. These red ones are doing really well. They've grown quite a bit, just continuous, giving us continuous color for the bright red that we can see from the house. And then impatiens back in here. These have probably tripled or quadrupled in size from when we put them in, and we're really happy to see that, because we've had a couple of years where recently where we haven't had a lot of luck with impatiens, and this seems to be the magic ticket. So I think it's just position and making sure they have enough water, and they definitely have this year. Behind all of that are the azaleas. They're giving us their fall, well, technically it's a fall bloom, but they are giving us some beautiful color here. This one, we have a total of 6. This is the first one. They bloom like crazy in the spring, and then about a third as much in the fall. But this year, for whatever reason, it seemed like it was earlier than usual that they have had their second wind. But I'll take it anytime they want to bloom, because they are absolutely gorgeous. I tend not to show the flowers off. They're fairly basic, but very, very pretty, consistent pink color. Our hostas in bloom here. A little later than most of our hostas, but they're in the shade, so that sets them back a little bit. We have a wisteria back there against the fence. For the most part, it has struggled a bit. I think it would probably like to have a little bit more sun, but I wanted to put it up against the fence. We've got one here that's doing really well. And then over here, we've got some black-eyed Susans that are doing well. A lot of things in this area that are pretty much done for the year now. This was a big area for daylilies and climbing roses. A couple blooms back in there, but for the most part that area is finished up. Now we do have one tea rose here. I talk about this one a lot. It's really one of my favorites. Very unique in how it's multicolored. When it first blooms, it's typically a combination of yellow and pink, and then as the blooms are out for a couple of days, the yellow goes away and you just have the pink and white. It's very unique. It's the only rose we have that does that, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's usually fairly prolific. It looks like it's getting its second wind now too. And over this way, this is our damage report. If you've been following this, we had a little beaver problem. For whatever reason, the beavers picked our gigantic knockout rose, the big one with the blood red flowers on it, and it just practically destroyed it. There's really just one trunk left now. Fortunately, this is a healthy enough plant that it should recover completely. We saw that happen last year. Beaver came up and knocked out a whole bunch of the branches and took them away back in January, but for the spring we were just covered with just full of flowers. It was fantastic. So hopefully history will repeat itself. Got a hibiscus here. It's doing, right now it's doing a little bit better. It was struggling earlier this week. It's in the direct sun, and it wasn't getting quite enough water, so I soaked it with water last night, and then it got the sprinkler this morning. If we get some rain, hopefully it'll start to pick up a little bit. Beautiful red flowers when it's in bloom. Same thing with these zinnias. They were looking a little sad yesterday, and the water has perked them back up. And then coming over to the trellis, we've got a mix of these climbing pink roses, which we talk about a lot, and then back further, a little harder to see, but in here we just got some regular lavender roses, which are really pretty. Those have climbed up the side of the trellis, and up on top is kind of a mixture of the pink climbers and jasmine and a few clematis. although the clematis are no longer in bloom. But you can see the pink blooms up there on top. In the middle of the spring, it's quite a sight to behold. If you see some of our older videos from April, we had red roses on the climbers on the left side, the pink roses on the right side, plus clematis and jasmine. It was just all mixed through there. It's really quite a sight. Lots of vinca doing really well down here. Our purple flower that we don't know what it is, purple leaves, purple flowers. I think this is related to spiderwort just because of the shape of the flowers, but I honestly don't know. If any of you are watching and you know what this is, please feel free to comment. We got another hibiscus here. This is a yellow one. No flowers at the moment, but the plant itself is doing really well, which is good to see. And then over here, actually I'll show off another one of our little bug friends. He's clinging on to that Veronica as close as he can. It's a black bug that kind of looks like a wasp, and I learned early on these are not really wasps, they're related, but these are what we call mud daubers. And at first I had no use for them, but I found out that they like black widow spiders, so they are now my best friends, and I always let them be. Certainly out here I do, but if I see one on the porch or in the house, I don't try to kill it. I try to just shoo him out the door. In this area, just a whole mix of different things. My wife Jenny likes to refer to this as a cottage garden. At first glance, it just looks overgrown, but when you look at all the different types of flowers, you start to really see the complexity of it. So in the front, we have vinca, and then as we work our way back, we have a lot of zinnias, different types, different colors. We've got Veronica here, the purple flowers still hanging on. They probably have another few weeks to go before they're finished, but the bugs absolutely love these. And then we have a couple wildflowers that we're not even sure what to call them, but they're beautiful little delicate pink flowers. And then we have those pink tea roses back in there, and if you look closely, they're really pretty, and there are a lot of buds about to come out before too long. So we're going to be getting a lot more color. Then we have a yellow tea rose here, and then that coral colored one behind it. And they're all just sort of mixed together. It's just a big combination of color. And even here in August, when a lot of these things are kind of finishing up or have finished up, we're still getting a nice combination of colors, even some daisies in the back. And then coming over this way, we have our third big butterfly bush back here. This one is the biggest one of all, and has a lot of these bright purple flowers on it. Very pretty. And behind all that, back on the fence, more of the climbing pink, tiny pink roses. Zinnias here. These have just really taken off in the last few days. These were grown from seed by my wife, and as are most of these back in here, doing very well. And a friend gave us this one. I honestly don't know what it is, but it's a beautiful little plant. Has the variegated leaves and then the little spiky pink flowers on it. Some balloon flowers still hanging on here. They're largely done. They don't like the hot sun, but they're still alive, still doing well. This is a new bed for us this year, and so some things have struggled, some things on the other hand have done great, like these zinnias. Now, we bought these from Walmart. They have, each one of these, I think we bought maybe 5 or 6. Each one of them has probably tripled or quadrupled in size, and just continue to put out all these flowers. And they're the thicker zinnias, not the single layer ones. Although there are some single layer ones, but a lot of them are the almost spherical kind, and it's bright purple color. We really had not run into that before, so we're very happy with these. And then marigolds in the back, more zinnias over here. And over in this area we have a couple not hydrangeas, but dahlias, which are giving us some nice color. This area has struggled historically. A lot of times it has trouble getting water, but the plants that have done well here have kind of thrived. We have a wisteria here which has struggled, but it's doing okay right now. I want to try to train it to grow along the fence eventually, and I think it's probably healthy enough now that it can start to do that. And then we'll work our way back through the weeds here to our big wisteria back in this area. No blooms on that right now, but it's doing very well. And then down in here, our canna, doing okay for a change. A lot of the very tropical looking flowers, the yellow ones at least, have done very well, and those are the light green color. And then we have the darker green variety which put out red flowers, and there aren't very many of them. These have typically struggled a bit. Not sure why. I think when you look at the leaves, most of the plants have some sort of problems. I don't know if it's a parasite or what. I'm not an expert on these, but like I say, the red ones have not really done all that well, whereas the yellow ones have done reasonably well, and we're getting a lot of color out of those for a change. Last year, not so much. Speaking of color, we got a lot of black-eyed Susans through here. This is kind of high time for those, August. And one of the best things about black-eyed Susans is the fact that they'll give you color in an area where everything else is done. So we have irises that bloom in the spring down in here, and then we have just native orange daylilies which bloom in June, and then these are July and August, and so at least we have some color down here through most of the growing season. Even have some canna that have gotten in over there. They're trying to take over that area. At least we're getting a flower or two off of them. But unfortunately, canna are so invasive that you have to be really careful with them, or they'll take over a part of your garden in no time. All right, so we're going to work our way up to the house and finish things up. Most of this garden by the base of our deck is a spring garden, but we do have some activities still going on. We've got Veronica here doing very well. These bright pink roses were really out in large numbers over the weekend. I think we saw those on our video from last week. And then we have phlox doing well here. I think they've passed their high point, but we're still getting some nice colors off of those. Nice yellow rose here, still doing very well. Got, strangely enough, a daylily still having some blooms on it. Very, very late to the party. All the others are long gone, but that one is still blooming. We have a tomato over here. I think we actually have, yeah, back here we have a tomato that has some fruit on it. Not ready to pop off yet, but they're doing well. And mostly the other things like calla lilies and Asiatic lilies all done, but we do have a nice single red rose here, which is beautiful. Some zinnias up in this area, which are doing well. And it's nice to get those in, so we have at least some color in this area, because most, as I say, most of the plants in this section of the garden were spring oriented. Some more tomatoes up in here. Tomatoes aren't doing quite as well as they have in previous years, which is not a tragedy, because they kind of took over this area and there were tomatoes everywhere, more than we could eat, and the plants were just everywhere. It was not really ideal. Now, I'm not sure what color this is. I think it's lavender. This rose is covered with buds, so maybe by next week we'll have some color there. And then we have our gigantic pink climbing rose, which is taking over the railing, which is fine with me. It was a cheaply made railing, unfortunately. The previous owners put it in. It's got a lot of warped wood on it, very strange construction. So covering it up with this huge plant is not a bad thing. And this will continue to bloom throughout the year. And we've got a bunch of zinnias here. These all came from seed. Jenny put these in not that long ago, maybe 6 or 8 weeks ago. And they're already 3 feet tall and blooming like crazy. So zinnias are always a safe bet. They'll give you a lot of color, low maintenance, and you can't beat the variety of color and just how hardy they are. They just do great. That brings us back to the top, and we are done with another week of our garden. It keeps looking like it's going to rain any second, but so far it's held off, which I'm happy about. You see these cloud patterns that are kind of typical for a hurricane. And normally the clouds go from west to east, which would be from right to left. But if you look, you can see it slowly moving from left to right, which means they're headed west, and that's following the pattern of the hurricane. So we're on the very outer edge of that tropical storm, and it remains to be seen how much rain we're going to get. I have a feeling, as far west as we are, that we're not going to get a whole lot, but time will tell. If we do get a lot, the plants will be very happy with us. So that's it for another week. Hope it's sunnier where you are than where we are, and until next time, happy gardening.